So the first thing we have to do is take off the center cap, and that's really easy. Just take an Allen wrench, just stick it in any size and pop it off. Really easy. Okay, the next thing we have to do is take the clip off. You can just put a screwdriver and pop it out of there. Watch your face so it doesn't hit you when it flies off, or hold it. I was holding the camera with one hand, so I couldn't hold the clip, but it'll fly back at you if you're not careful. Okay, so next you got to take off the two bolts in the back that are holding the caliper in place, and you'll know those because they're 13 millimeter. You can see where it hooks up right here by the hose. It looks like it's actually holding the hose on, but it's not. The hose is underneath it. There's one here with a rubber boot, and then there's one on the bottom with a rubber boot. So just taking those two bolts out will release the entire brake caliper. Don't take out any other bolts. Okay, so there's the bolts that hold in the caliper. You see it fits just across my hand. That's about how long they are. They've got to come completely out in order to remove the caliper. Okay, I've got the caliper coming off. If you notice where this rubber grommet is, if you pull on it, it pulls that out. You have to pull that out in order to release the caliper. Just taking the bolts off doesn't actually release it. You got to pull those just back maybe 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch, and then pull the caliper out at the same time. You can do the bottom and then the top. And when you put it back on, you're going to have to do the same thing. If you try to put the caliper on without pulling those out, it won't go all the way on. Okay, so there's the caliper. I've taken it off. It's still attached to the car by the brake hose. You don't need to take the brake hose off. And those pads, one is popped into place, the one that's on the hydraulic piston, and the other one's actually glued with a glue strip, so you'll have to pry them both off with a flathead screwdriver. Okay, so before you put the pads back on, you need to put a C-clamp on the piston to open it up. Okay, so I got it all back together. You notice I got the little spring clamp back on there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it keeps the calipers from rattling when you're driving down the road, because it looks like it kind of keeps it tight or something. But it's pretty hard to get on. It's actually the hardest thing to get on. That's why I didn't video it, because I can't hold the iPad and do that at the same time. But I basically laid it in at the top, and then laid it in the middle, and then pushed this part of the spring up onto this bolt, and then once I got it kind of wedged into place, I put a screwdriver in and popped the bottom on. And the first one was really hard. This one I did a little better, so I'd say after the third try, it'd probably be pretty easy, but it's kind of hard the first time.